Sailing homeward. Cliffs that rise 1,000 feet without a break, lake that stretches 100 miles without a wave, sands that are white through all the year without a stain, pine tree woods, winter and summer, evergreen, streams that forever flow and flow without a pause, trees that for 20,000 years your vows have kept. You have suddenly healed the pain of a traveler's heart and moved his brush to write a new song. The pine trees in the courtyard. Below the hall, the pine trees grow in front of the steps, irregularly scattered, not in ordered lines. Some are tall and some are low. The tallest of them is 6 roods high, the lowest but 10 feet. They are like wild things, and no one knows who planted them. They touch the walls of my blue-tiled house. Their roots are sunk in the terrace of white sand. Morning and evening they are visited by the wind and moon. Rain or fine, they are free from dust and mud. In the gales of autumn they whisper a vague tune. From the suns of summer they yield a cool shade. At the height of spring the fine evening rain fills their leaves with a load of hanging pearls. At the year's end the time of great snow stamps their branches with a fret of glittering jade. Of the 4 seasons each has its own mood. Among all the trees none is like another. Last year, when they heard I had bought this house, neighbors mocked and the world called me mad, that a whole family of twice 10 souls should move house for the sake of a few pines. Now that I have come to them, what have they given me? They have only loosened the buckles of my care. Yet even so, they are profitable friends, and fill my need of converse with wise men. Yet when I consider how, still a man of the world, in belt and cap I scurry through dirt and dust, from time to time my heart twinges with shame that I am not fit to be master of my pines. Releasing a Migrant Yen. At 9 Rivers, in the 10th year, in winter, heavy snow, the river water covered with ice, and the forests broken with their load, the birds of the air, hungry and cold, went flying east and west, and with them flew a migrant yen, loudly clamoring for food. Among the snow it pecked for grass, and rested on the surface of the ice. It tried with its wings to scale the sky, but its tired flight was slow. The boys of the river spread a net and caught the bird as it flew. They took it in their hands to the city market and sold it there alive. I that was once a man of the north am now an exile here. Bird and man in their different kind are each strangers in the south. And because the sight of an exiled bird wounded an exile's heart, I paid your ransom and set you free, and you flew away to the clouds. Yen, yen, flying to the clouds, tell me, whither shall you go? Of all things I bid you, do not fly to the land of the northwest. In Huai-shi there are rebel bands that have not been subdued, and 1,000 armored men have long been camped in war. The official army and the rebel army have grown old in their opposite trenches. The soldiers' rations have grown so small, they'll be glad of even you. The brave boys in their hungry plight will shoot you and eat your flesh. They will pluck from your body those long feathers and make them into arrow wings. At the end of spring, the flower of the pear tree gathers and turns to fruit. The swallow's eggs have hatched into young birds. When the seasons' changes thus confront the mind, what comfort can the doctrine of Tao give? It will teach me to watch the days and months fly, without grieving that youth slips away. If the fleeting world is but a long dream, it does not matter whether one is young or old. But ever since the day that my friend left my side and has lived in exile in the city of Qiangling, there is one wish I cannot quite destroy, that from time to time we may chance to meet again. The Pitcher. I dreamt I climbed to a high, high plain, and on the plain I found a deep well. My throat was dry with climbing, and I longed to drink, and my eyes were eager to look into the cool shaft. I walked round it. I looked right down. I saw my image mirrored on the face of the pool. An earthen pitcher was sinking into the black depths. There was no rope to pull it to the wellhead. I was strangely troubled lest the pitcher should be lost, and started wildly running to look for help. From village to village I scoured that high plain. The men were gone. The dogs leaped at my throat. I came back and walked weeping round the well. Faster and faster the blinding tears flowed, till my own sobbing suddenly woke me up. My room was silent. No one in the house stirred. The flame of my candle flickered with a green smoke. The tears I had shed glittered in the candlelight. A bell sounded. I knew it was the midnight chime. I sat up in bed and tried to arrange my thoughts. The plain in my dream was the graveyard at Chang'an. Those 100 acres of untilled land, the soil heavy and the mounds heaped high, and the dead below them laid in deep troughs. Deep are the troughs. Yet sometimes dead men find their way to the world above the grave. And tonight my love, who died long ago, came into my dream as the pitcher sunk in the well. That was why the tears suddenly streamed from my eyes and fell on the collar of my dress. The Spring River. Heat and cold, dusk and dawn have crowded one upon the other. Suddenly I find it is 2 years since I came to Chengzhou. Through my closed doors I hear nothing but the morning and evening drum. From my upper windows all I see is the ships that come and go. In vain the orioles tempt me with their song to stray beneath the flowering trees. In vain the grasses lure me by their color to sit beside the pond. There is one thing and one alone I never tire of watching: the spring river as it trickles over the stones and babbles past the rocks. Hearing that his friend was coming back from the war. In old days, those who went to fight in 3 years had 1 year's leave. But in this war, the soldiers are never changed. They must go on fighting till they die on the battlefield. I thought of you, so weak and indolent, hopelessly trying to learn to march and drill. That a young man should ever come home again seemed about as likely as that the sky should fall. Since I got the news that you were coming back, twice I have mounted to the high hall of your home. I found your brother mending your horse's stall. I found your mother sewing your new clothes. I am half afraid, perhaps it is not true, yet I never weary of watching for you on the road. Each day I go out at the city gate with a flask of wine, lest you should come thirsty. Oh, that I could shrink the surface of the world, so that suddenly I might find you standing at my side.